Obviously, if anyone can be successful at designing clothing, it's going to be Rihanna.
Rihanna paving the way in luxury fashion. She is now the first woman ever to create an original brand for LVMH.
The first black female under LVMH. Congratulations, Rihanna, for Fenty.
But none of that, it seems, was enough to keep the lights on at Rihanna's fashion label.
Fenty, a brand that promised to change the face of luxury fashion forever. Created by the global icon, legend, superstar that is Rihanna, it had all the ingredients to succeed. A massive star, a fresh vision, and a commitment to inclusivity. But 2 years after it launched, Fenty Fashion was gone, and I, amongst many other people, were very sad about it. But what went wrong, and how did a fashion house under the guidance of one of the world's most influential women disappear so quickly? Today we're talking about one of the most intriguing chapters in the history of modern fashion, the rise and fall of the Fenty fashion house. I think we're all very familiar with Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty, but there was a fashion side of Rihanna's empire. How did a luxury brand created by Rihanna with LVMH, the world's largest fashion group, struggle to survive? Let's find out. Rihanna had already made a massive name for herself in the beauty world with Fenty Beauty, but by 2019 she was ready to take on the fashion industry, and not just any corner of it. Rihanna was aiming for top luxury fashion, enter Fenty Fashion. In May 2019, Rihanna launched Fenty Fashion in collaboration with the French luxury conglomerate LVMH, the same group behind brands like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior and Givenchy. This wasn't just another fashion brand, this was history in the making.
I've never done something like this high-end, and with a team this big and bad. I mean, LVMH is a monster of a machine, so working with them, you can only expect the best.
Rihanna was the first woman of colour to ever head up a luxury brand under LVMH. This was a massive statement in the industry that has long been criticised for its lack of diversity. Fenty wasn't just about a new designer on the scene, it was about rewriting the rules of high fashion. The brand focused on offering modern, streetwear-inspired pieces that blended luxury with everyday wear. It wasn't about the traditional runway shows or seasonal collections. Rihanna and her team took a unique approach, dropping pieces sporadically throughout the year rather than sticking to traditional fashion schedules. The collection's debut featured everything from oversized jackets and sleek leather trousers to chunky sneakers and fitted dresses. Fenty's aesthetic, just like Rihanna's, was undeniably cool and chic, and it was clear that Rihanna wanted to bring her own unique sense of style to the luxury market.
I'm the muse. I know that sounds kind of narcissistic, but basically is what I like to wear, what looks good on my body, because I'm curvy, so I know I want it to look good on every body type.
And the fashion world was buzzing. During this time, there was a wave of unboxings and reviews of the Fenty brand. Even here on my channel, I did an unboxing of Fenty. So there was definitely a general interest in the brand. And I would say that everyone was pretty open and excited about the emergence of this brand. Although I do think in some spaces, the response was mixed. Rihanna's star power alone made Fenty Fashion a must-watch, and the fashion press were quick to heap praise on her modern approach to luxury. Critics highlighted the boldness of the designs and the exclusivity of the collections. Rihanna had already established a reputation for embracing diversity with Fenty Beauty, and now she was bringing that ethos to high fashion. Fenty's messaging was also revolutionary in terms of size inclusivity.
I want women to feel confident no matter what size they are, no matter what shade of nude they are, no matter what their personality is, what their race is, their religion is. I want women to feel confident and sexy because that's who we are and we deserve to feel like that.
The fashion world has long been criticised for its lack of representation, but Rihanna's approach made waves by showcasing models of all shapes, sizes and ethnicities. This made Fenty stand out from other luxury brands that were stuck in their traditional homogenous ways. Fans were excited to see that Fenty wasn't just about expensive gowns or intricate couture, it was about everyday luxury, clothing you could wear casually but still look polished and stylish. Rihanna had managed to combine high-end fashion with street culture, a rare feat for a luxury brand. Fenty was disruptive. Rihanna brought a freshness to the fashion industry, one that was long overdue. It wasn't just about making beautiful clothes, it was about making a statement.
My ultimate style advice, play. It can't work, it's too much, it's too this. Play. That's what fashion is about. It's not that serious.
it's drag.
So how did Fenty actually perform financially? After all, the luxury fashion world is one of the toughest industries to break into. In its first year, Fenty Fashion seemed poised for success, and while exact revenue numbers for Fenty Fashion are not publicly disclosed, we do know that the brand was not performing at the level LVMH had hoped. In its early days, the brand made a splash, but by the end of 2019, Fenty Fashion was far from being a major player in the luxury market. By comparison, other brands under the LVMH umbrella like Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior were generating billions in revenue, while Fenty by contrast was struggling to meet its targets. The challenge for Fenty wasn't just about the numbers, it was about positioning itself against the already dominant forces in the luxury fashion world. Even though Rihanna had her star power, the luxury market is deeply rooted in tradition. Fenty's modern approach with its casual streetwear aesthetic and surprise drop models didn't seem to connect with the wider luxury customer base that was used to exclusive seasonal collections and more traditional brand narratives. Fenty was ahead of its time, but it also faced the reality that not all consumers were ready for this blend of high fashion and street culture. It wasn't just about the clothes, it was about perception. Luxury is about exclusivity, and I think Fenty just wasn't perceived as exclusive enough. Despite the initial excitement and massive backing from LVMH, Fenty Fashion faced several key hurdles that contributed to its downfall. Aside from the brand's relatively low sales numbers, Fenty Fashion's high price point was another factor. Luxury streetwear is a tough market to crack, and even with Rihanna's star power, the brand struggled to justify its high price to a wide audience. At around £800 for a basic jacket and £1,200 for a pair of trainers, Fenty's pieces were priced at the same level as the most prestigious brands in the world. Many customers found the prices unappealing, especially when compared to other brands offering similar styles at a lower cost. There were many customers who felt that Fenty Fashion's premium pricing simply did not align with its brand identity. This misalignment didn't sit well with the core audience that had supported Fenty Beauty. Another issue was Fenty Fashion's limited availability. The brand was sold in a very small number of boutiques and had a somewhat restricted online presence. Fans who wanted to buy pieces were left frustrated by the lack of access, especially when compared to more established brands that had a global retail presence. By early 2021, LVMH made the decision to halt production of Fenty Fashion. While there was no official statement saying Fenty was a failure, it was clear that the brand hadn't met the lofty expectations set for it. LVMH's decision to discontinue Fenty came shortly after they had reviewed the brand's financial performance, with estimates suggesting Fenty Fashion wasn't bringing in the kind of revenue LVMH had hoped for. I honestly think that the decision to halt production of Fenty was not solely made by LVMH. I have not found anything to back up this feeling, but I have this feeling that this decision may have been mutual. I definitely believe that if Rihanna had persisted with Fenty Fashion, that they would have been able to find a sweet spot, because I definitely think that there is a market for high-end fashion that has a more diverse, streetwear, inclusive face to it. I definitely think there's a gap in the market for it. I'm just not sure of how successful the working relationship between LVMH and Rihanna was. She expressed gratitude for the opportunity, but also made it clear that her focus would now be on other ventures like Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty, which both continue to thrive. So what lessons can we take from the rise and fall of Fenty Fashion? One key takeaway is that the most well-executed brand, backed by one of the world's largest fashion conglomerates, can still struggle in a competitive market. While Fenty Fashion may have faltered, Rihanna's other businesses are continuing to thrive. Fenty Beauty revolutionized the beauty industry with its inclusive approach, and Savage X Fenty is now one of the most talked about lingerie brands in the world. It's clear that Rihanna has mastered the art of blending innovation with inclusivity, and the lessons she learned from Fenty Fashion will undoubtedly shape her future projects. So while Fenty Fashion might not have lasted, Rihanna's impact on the fashion world is undeniable. What do you think? Could Fenty have survived if it had taken a different approach? Do you think she'll be back with another iteration of Fenty Fashion, Ivy Park style? I am a luxury lover, and so I was so sad to see Fenty go. And with a few tweaks, I could definitely see myself being a committed Fenty Fashion customer. But do you think she'll be back? Was it always going to be a struggle in the face of such competition? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future deep dives.